Welcome to Energy Insights, your trusted source for navigating the latest developments in the global energy transition. Today, we turn our attention to Asia, a region at the forefront of the renewable energy revolution. Asia is on the front lines of the global energy transition. It's a region of contrasts, booming economic growth, rising energy demands, and some of the largest contributors to carbon emissions. Yet, it's also home to extraordinary opportunities, with vast potential for renewable energy transformation. So today, we'll explore two sides of this energy narrative: the leaders that are blazing the trail with ambitious policies and investments, and the laggards struggling to overcome barriers. We'll dive into the successes of nations like China, India, and Vietnam. And then we'll examine why countries such as Indonesia and Pakistan are falling behind, and, most importantly, how they can close the gap. Stay with me, because by the end of this episode, we'll have unpacked the key strategies and solutions that could propel Asia towards a greener, more sustainable energy future. Let's get started. Why is Asia's energy transition so critical? To begin with, Asia is home to over half the world's population, more than 4.7 billion people. It's also the fastest-growing consumer of energy globally, with demand projected to rise by a staggering 60% by 2040. That's huge. But here's the challenge. This growth comes at a cost. Asia contributes to over 50% of global carbon emissions, driven by heavy reliance on coal and other fossil fuels. Now, despite this sobering reality, there's a silver lining. According to IRENA, the International Renewable Energy Agency, Asia has the potential to meet 65% of its energy needs through renewables by 2050. Think about that: solar, wind, hydropower, and geothermal resources could power a clean energy revolution in this region. So, while the stakes are incredibly high, the opportunities are equally immense. The question is, can Asia rise to the challenge? Now, let's turn our attention to the countries leading the charge in renewable energy. What are they doing right, and what lessons can we learn from them? Let's start with the success stories. These are the nations that demonstrate how ambition, strategy, and investment can yield extraordinary results. China is, without a doubt, a powerhouse in renewable energy. It's the world's largest investor in clean energy, dominating both solar and wind capacity. In fact, over 70% of the world's solar panels are manufactured in China. And their progress doesn't stop there. China has made significant advances in battery storage and electric vehicles, setting the standard for integrating clean energy into daily life. But here's the flip side. Coal still plays a massive role in China's energy mix. It's a contradiction, isn't it? On one hand, unparalleled renewable energy progress. On the other, a lingering dependency on fossil fuels. Bridging this gap will be crucial for China to fully transition to clean energy. Now, let's talk about India. It's another key player, with an ambitious target of achieving 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030. Solar energy is at the heart of this plan, and India's rural solar electrification programs are a game changer. These initiatives don't just cut emissions, they improve livelihoods, bringing electricity to remote villages for the first time. But challenges remain. Infrastructure development is slow, and financing these projects is a constant struggle. India's potential is clear, but turning ambition into reality will require sustained effort and international collaboration. And then there's Vietnam, a shining example of how policy can drive progress. In just 2 years, Vietnam quadrupled its solar capacity. Yes, quadrupled. How? Through clear government policies and incentives that attracted private sector investment. Vietnam's story is a testament to the power of policy clarity. It's proof that when governments set the right framework, the results can be transformative. These countries show us what's possible. But what about nations that are lagging behind? Let's explore their challenges next. While some nations are blazing a trail in renewable energy, others are struggling to find their footing. These challenges are not unique, but shared across several countries in the region, creating a consistent narrative of barriers that must be addressed. Let's start with Indonesia. Here, coal dominates the energy mix, making up about 60% of its total energy use. It's not just a reliance, it's a deeply entrenched dependency that has shaped the country's energy policies for years. Unfortunately, the absence of clear renewable energy targets adds to the problem. Without a clear vision or framework, it's challenging to attract investments or galvanize momentum for renewables. Compounding this is the lack of incentives for clean energy initiatives, which creates an uneven playing field where fossil fuels continue to win. Now let's shift to Pakistan. This is a nation grappling with chronic energy shortages, a problem that should, in theory, push it towards renewables. Yet, fossil fuels remain at the forefront of energy priorities. Why? The reasons are multifaceted. Inconsistent energy policies create uncertainty, making it difficult for investors to commit. Meanwhile, limited infrastructure leaves the country ill-prepared to scale up renewable projects. It's a classic case of short-term fixes overshadowing long-term solutions. Across the board, several systemic challenges emerge when we look at countries struggling with the energy transition. Policy inconsistency is a major one. When policies change with administrations or lack clarity, it undermines confidence for both domestic and international investors. Without financial stability, even the most promising renewable projects can falter. Then there's financing, arguably one of the most critical roadblocks. Many of these nations simply don't have access to affordable loans or grants to kickstart their renewable energy projects. International support often exists in theory, but remains tangled in bureaucracy, making it inaccessible for the nations that need it most. And let's not forget the continued reliance on fossil fuels. While renewables are becoming increasingly cost-effective, the upfront investment required often tilts the scale back toward fossil fuels, which are cheaper and more readily available. It's a short-term gain at the expense of long-term sustainability. These barriers paint a complex picture. The challenges are daunting, yes, but not insurmountable. The key lies in identifying these issues, addressing them head-on, and fostering an environment where renewable energy can thrive, even in the most challenging contexts. Now that we've explored these barriers, the next question is, how can they be overcome? And how can nations at the forefront help those lagging behind? Let's dig into the solutions. So, we've explored the successes and the challenges. Now let's talk about the way forward. How can countries that are lagging accelerate their renewable energy transitions? And how can leading nations maintain their momentum while helping others? First, clear and ambitious policy frameworks are essential. Without a strong foundation, it's nearly impossible to build a reliable, renewable energy sector. Governments need to set definitive renewable energy targets, ones that are realistic yet challenging enough to push boundaries. But it's not just about setting targets, it's about creating stability. Policies that remain consistent across administrations foster trust and confidence among investors, both domestic and international. Now, let's talk about incentives. Tax breaks, subsidies, and other financial benefits can act as catalysts. Think of it this way: when businesses and developers see tangible rewards for investing in renewables, they're more likely to commit to long-term projects. Incentives are not just financial tools, they're signals of a government's seriousness about clean energy. Another area that deserves focus is regional collaboration. Countries like China and India, which have made remarkable strides in renewable energy, have a wealth of expertise and technological know-how. By sharing these insights with their neighbors, they can help create a ripple effect across the region. Imagine shared infrastructure like cross-border energy grids, an interconnected network that not only supports efficiency, but also ensures energy access for nations that currently struggle with it. Innovation is another key piece of the puzzle. Advancing technologies like energy storage and smart grids can address some of the biggest barriers to renewable adoption. For example, energy storage systems make renewables more reliable by ensuring that surplus energy doesn't go to waste. Smart grids, on the other hand, optimize energy distribution, ensuring that clean energy reaches where it's needed most. These innovations don't just solve problems, they expand what's possible. Of course, we cannot ignore the role of international financial support. For many nations, the cost of transitioning to renewables is simply too high to bear alone. This is where institutions like the Green Climate Fund come into play. Accessible financing options, whether grants, low-interest loans, or blended finance models, can make all the difference. It's about creating a level playing field where even the most vulnerable nations have the resources to participate in the global energy transition. Finally, public awareness and engagement are often overlooked but vital components. Policies and incentives won't succeed without buy-in from the public. Governments and organizations must communicate the benefits of renewables, not just for the environment, but for energy security, job creation, and economic growth. When people see how these changes impact their daily lives positively, they're more likely to support and advocate for them. So what does this all mean? It means that the path to a sustainable energy future requires collaboration at every level, local, regional, and global. It means that innovation and financial support must go hand in hand. And most importantly, it means that we need to act with urgency and purpose. As we wrap up this discussion, let's ask ourselves, how can each of us contribute to this transition? Whether it's advocating for policy change, supporting renewable initiatives, or simply staying informed, every action counts. Let's move forward together. Asia's renewable energy journey is one of contrasts. While some nations are setting benchmarks in clean energy innovation, others face systemic barriers that impede progress. Yet, the region's potential to lead the global energy transition is undeniable. Collaboration, innovation, and strong policy frameworks are the cornerstones of a sustainable future. By addressing current challenges and leveraging available opportunities, Asia can chart a path toward a greener and more resilient energy landscape. If you found this episode insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest in the energy transition. For more in-depth analysis and updates, visit our website at energytracker.asia. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Energy Insights.